This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Good evening, everyone. This is Monte Mohr with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and it's Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. And welcome. It is Sunday evening, 5 p.m.
April 14th. The next day, you know what happens. It's that wonderful day we all look forward to.
We have a party? What?
No.
No.
We get to pay our taxes.
Yes, the IRS has a party,
Those of us
I guess.
who calculate their taxes, or I heard you don't. Is
What?
that the rumor on the street that you're just kind of...
Let's just say I'm W-2'd, so I calculate it daily, monthly, weekly when I get paid.
Amen.
So
That's right.
Yeah, but it is something so important for so many, especially when it comes to not only just filing your taxes and not having any, penalties per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are getting a home mortgage, it's really important because the lender on the 16th is going to say, did you file or did you file in an extension, right?
Let's talk about that for a second,
Yeah.
can we? Because, if you hadn't stopped us last year when we were buying our house from doing it, because Connie always wants to do the taxes on time.
Well, make sure.
Not that you
we have a
stopped us.
disclaimer there. I never did say
No.
do
You
not
didn't
file
stop.
your taxes. Let's make sure that's on that one.
That's right.
Love
You
it.
didn't say, but you suggested. No, you didn't even suggest. You just said, okay, here's the difference.
Well, here are your two options.
Here's your two
right,
options,
right.
exactly. So we took option B rather than option A.
Sure.
And we were able to qualify for the mortgage since we're self-employed.
Well, again, make sure that we explain to everybody. The main thing I think for you guys versus the reason why we did that was if you are self-employed and you do file your taxes, the lender is going to require you to completely finalize or take care of any bills that are due with the IRS,
Exactly.
right? So if you had an outstanding balance that you had to pay the IRS, you actually have to work out a payment plan quickly, which sometimes takes a little bit of time, depending upon if they're answering their phone or if they're responding to the request, and or having that balance paid. And so if you're not ready to, let's say it's $20,000, if you're not ready, to pay that $20,000 in 3 weeks or so, that is maybe the reason why you would extend when looking to get approved
But
for
I think
mortgage.
that's an important understanding for everybody out there.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
do.
And again, so the flip, so let's say you're W-2'd, and I'm W-2'd. I wish I wasn't sometimes, but I am W-2'd. But again, if I was W-2'd, the lender's still going to make sure that I filed my taxes, right? And so some people get sidetracked or overwhelmed, or they didn't file an extension, right? And so it is important to make sure if you are in the process of getting a home mortgage, that you do connect with your lender and get guidance, on the direction there. And also, if you do file, let them know, provide proof of the filing, show exactly what, they're going to be looking for, and exactly how much you do owe the IRS. And maybe you're receiving a refund, right? You're W-2 and you're receiving a refund, but they are going to want to see proof that you did file your taxes after the 15th, which is tomorrow.
Just last week we had a closing with CMG, another smooth transaction.
We love that. Thank you.
The challenge was right before closing, we found out that the buyer had decided not to do as was recommended by your office. Let's just go ahead and pay those tax dollars at closing.
Oh, right.
And instead, she decided to go to Bowling Green or wherever and pay them. And of course, then we had to worry about the cash being, or the check being cleared and evidence.
Right. And some people want to take care of things themselves. They think that they're doing the right thing, which they are. However, there is usually...
there's only 24 hours in between.
Well, but there is usually time, right? For checks to clear,
Right.
for authorizations to come back and things like that. So to make it easy. Now, again, not every lender allows for that. We do allow for that. Some lenders do require you to truly pay and then wait for a IRS receipt, which could be something called a 4506, to come back to show
Is
proof
that because they don't want to take the risk that it may may get caught, in the mail or something, or what's the reason for that?
Sure, and that's probably, everybody has their own set of guidelines that they follow.
Okay.
But we are going to, if we put that on the CD or the closing disclosure, which for those that don't know, that's the last document of the process that has all of your fees and everything collected, and if on the seller side, all of your payoffs and everything listed there. And so that would be just listed as a cost to finalize the approval, right? And so that would be the payoff that you owe the IRS would be added to that closing disclosure, which to make it a lot easier and make the process smoother, for sure.
But to me, it only makes sense because I've seen cars paid off, on those CDs.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
seen credit cards paid off in those CDs, or any sort of back payment. That way, the lender knows it's being done.
Right, and it puts you at ease. It takes away a lot of the frustration, a lot of the concern. It makes the process go a lot smoother if you can do that. And again, that's all with the understanding that the lender that you're working with does allow for that.
Right,
for sure. But yes, so tomorrow is a big day. It's funny if you want to make friends with CPAs, maybe not talk to them today,
right,
or tomorrow.
No. They're probably a little bit busy right now,
right? Or send them treats, or they probably don't have time to get a lunch, or a cup of coffee. So
send them a pizza.
Yeah, they do work really, really hard. I went to my CPA's office. Actually, it's out of Chattanooga. Actually, I'm working with a CPA out of Chattanooga. I was there a week or so ago, and there's probably 25 CPAs, in this place, and they're just going at it, just so fast and trying to get everything squared away. So great profession, hard workers. They make us get to the finish line if needed and on time, for sure.
Amen.
So,
hey, we want to make sure everybody remembers to send their questions to questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Yes.
Or hashtag TalkMusicCity. But be sure also to go to our Facebook, The Talk of Music City Real Estate. Our podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. That's my favorite part of,
You get to see us there.
Yeah, I get to see us.
Yeah. We're human. We are doing this.
Thanks to Mr.
everybody.
Jim McCarthy.
Yes. He's
Give a
been
shout
a
out to
lifesaver.
Big Jim.
Yes, thank you, Jim, for all that you do for us. And if you have some suggestions on some topics that you want to hear, again, questions@talkmusiccity.com is a great place to send those. So we do have some amazing questions.
Some more great questions.
Yes, we do. Thank you. So what question do we have here? Is this the one from Shawana? Shauna. Mm-hmm. Are my glasses on? I might need a new prescription there. All right, here we go.
You did notice, by the way, that I've got transitions.
I mean, you were jealous.
I was jealous. I thought,
I've been jealous too.
Look at Miss. She's so. She's just. You're always thinking, so you don't have to go from sunglasses to regular glasses. You got transitions.
Yeah. Well, you can have those. I quickly got rid of those.
Really?
Yeah, I walked into rooms halfway. One was dark, one was white. They were like, "Are you here? Are you there?" It was not good. It didn't make any sense for me.
I like it, but it is. You do have a little pause there for a second when you've come out of the bright sunshine, for sure.
Right, exactly. So you go ahead and rock those. They look great on you, though.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
They look great on you. Okay, here we go. We got a great question. I've been out looking at homes with my realtor. That's another topic in itself.
You sure it's not realtor?
Oh my gosh. Do you call your doctor docator there, Monty? I love it. Hey, so I've been out looking for homes, and one we saw said in the remarks, sales subject to seller finding suitable housing. I really like the home, but I'm not sure that I want to get involved in that kind of a situation. How can we get around that requirement? That is a really good question. Yeah, because I probably would be one that would want that in there.
You'd be one of those kind of people, wouldn't you? I'm not moving until I find another place.
Well, where would I go?
Well, think about it for a second, though. I really love the fact that you would really think this way.
I would. I want it my way there,
That's right.
Ronnie.
That's what I'm talking about. But imagine this for a second, okay? Let's say you put your home on the market.
Yes.
But you put that statement in there that I'm going to make sure this is contingent upon me finding suitable housing. Now, I'm coming along. I want to buy your home. I'd like to do a home inspection. I'd like to invest in an appraisal. I'd like to invest my heart.
Okay.
And my wife would like to invest her heart. She loves your home, by the way. Not sure about the deer antler, the antler chandelier, but other than that, it's fabulous. Anyways, the point is, why would we invest that time, that energy, that heart not knowing for sure if you're even going to sell. I don't want to put my eggs in your basket.
Oh, well, I am going to sell. I'm telling you, I'm going to sell. I just need to find another house.
What if it takes you a year to find a house? What if you're looking for something special?
Oh, is there not maybe a contingency over a period of time? 6 months, maybe?
Let's all sit in limbo for 6 months while you find it. But do you see for instance, let's back it up a little bit. Let's say you found the home that you're looking for.
Right.
And they're saying, yeah, we kind of want to sell, but not unless we can find something else. What if these folks that you just bought your home from, what if they took that position? How would that feel?
Well, I mean, I see what you're saying, but
yeah,
I mean, I guess that is a good topic. So I think you're right, Shauna. When it comes to that, do you really want to get in the middle of all that? I would be that seller. But my thoughts are, if I really want that home, I'd be willing to wait for that home. I'd be willing to pay more for that home. That's just me. That's just how I look at things. But I'm one of many, or one of few. Maybe.
I'm just saying, what if you have to make a decision? You've got to move out of where you're at right now. You need to make a decision. You do fall in love with this place.
Right.
To be totally transparent, when I'm showing property and I see that in the comments and the remarks as on a listing.
Mm-hmm.
That listing ends up in the trash. I don't even show it.
What?
I'm serious.
They would miss out.
Well, miss out on what? Miss out on something why not just knock on the door of somebody randomly and say, do you want to sell? You have just as much option. a chance of them just saying, yeah, I want to sell.
I guess so. Well, I think that you should show my house if I was going to put it in there, because they would fall in love with it.
I'm not going to show your house if that's what you're going to say. Now, I just hope the listeners pay attention here.
Okay.
And don't choose with your side, because we don't. That would be how about all the listings have that little caveat to them? And you're trying to do think about it from your perspective. You're trying to do the loan. Well, we can't really do the loan yet because we don't. Well,
the flip to that, though, is that, which we could keep going down and talking in circles. We need to land this plane here.
Coming on in.
Too funny. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have so many great questions that we're going to be answering with you. You're listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here with Realty One Group Music City.
And Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. And welcome back. I have the giggles for a second here. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's good to see you back, Carey Ann.
So
I think
good.
We have a guest
good to be back. We do. This segment, we have a special guest.
Very special.
Very special.
You are. We're going to keep you off camera, though.
Yeah.
He's so special that we're going to keep him off camera.
you don't want to look at that.
Yeah, we just one step at a time, all right?
Yes, but we wanted to bring Jim McCarthy on with us, and he is one that has helped us through this whole show, and he's quite amazing. But we've been talking actually off line here about renovations, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe, what we see on TV on Sunday mornings, how we could do that quick repair ourselves, right? And or we want to find a house that has the need of a little TLC, right? We need to maybe brighten it up or have a, upgrade to it, and what does that entail from a mortgage standpoint? But so Jim, tell us what you learned on Sunday morning TV on how you thought you could. What is it? The kitchen sink?
My unwitting renovation that I'm now currently involved in. Yeah.
Yeah.
My father was a very good tradesman and handyman, which he passed a lot of those skills to me. One of those was not plumbing.
Not plumbing.
Not at all. So, but hey, it's a faucet. I've put them in before for our bathroom. They're not very hard to install, so I figured, my wife, Courtney, she ended up ordering one, and it came.
Okay.
We had the base of it was not lining up, so we had to send it back and get another one, and so on and so forth. But when I took the old one out, I must have hit the valve on the bottom that you turn off to take everything off in the pipe. And the thing just started bubbling over, unbeknownst to me.
Oh.
So the following morning, I get up to take my shower and do my thing, and I step into a giant puddle on my bathroom floor.
No.
So that little $30 faucet is now costing us about $3,000 in water damage repairs. But we did get a new bathroom floor out of it.
Okay.
So we upgraded.
There you go. Everything happens for a reason. There, Jim.
I used to tell my kids that sometimes shortcuts are long cuts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't taking any shortcuts. It's just I'm just not.
But
good
you
at
were doing it. You were not a plumber.
Right.
You were doing it. That's the shortcut.
Right.
So you wanted to spend $30 on a faucet. That's a good. That's a fun story.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we have a lot of folks that call us and want to do their own repairs on the homes that they purchase. And so when it comes to lending, the lenders do not allow you to do it yourself. You actually have to have a general contractor, someone that is licensed, so they don't have that situation, happen again. But that's sometimes a little bit of a frustration because we do watch certain shows on Sunday morning and it makes it seem so easy,
Yeah, everybody's so talented and not so much.
Right.
So there's a mortgage that covers those kind of folks, isn't
right,
there?
absolutely. So you could, if you find a house out there that you automatically know needs to have this fixed, or you want to add, some changes here to the kitchen or new cabinets and different things, you could do a renovation loan. So there's two types. Actually, there's multiple types, but the two types that a lot of lenders focus on, one's going to be more of the government type of loan. It's called a 203K loan. That's may be familiar to many folks out there. And it's a great loan, and it's associated with an FHA mortgage. So you are going to have mortgage insurance, but basically you can take the price of the home. You can have your plans and specs, all the cost of the repairs. They're going to go ahead and add those together, and you're going to put 3.5% down based upon the total cost of the renovation and of the home, right? So that still allows you to get in with minimal cost.
Does that house have to appraise for the
right? It's a great question. So we do send the plans and specs and the contract of the home to the appraiser, and then the appraiser will appraise the property based upon all of the repairs being done. What would it appraise if A, B, and C was to be completed? So it would be contingent on the repair work to be done. Yes. So that does still have to appraise. How's
that work? So you close on the property prior to the work being done. And then there's this fund somewhere. Is that you hang on to that? Does
right. So the lender does carry that. There's going to be inspections throughout, right, to make sure that every milestone is covered. Depending upon the type of loan, you may have a HUD consultant guide you along, the process to make sure that you are not only meeting HUD guidelines, but also, doing everything that HUD's going to allow. And that's if you did the FHA 203K loan. The flip is if you and I wanted to do something called a home style loan, which is more the conventional version of that. Same concept, but you're looking at putting 5% down instead of the 3.5%. And again, good credit allows you to be creative on the mortgage insurance, right? You could, like we talked in previous episodes, you could increase the interest rate, have the lender cover that. You could buy it out. Depending upon your loan to value, you may even be able to finance the mortgage insurance. So there's a lot more flexibility on that type of loan if you have a credit score that allows you the ability to prove that on that loan. So renovation loans
so that works kind of like a new construction draw.
Right, exactly.
And all the money's not given until the property's complete.
Right, certain milestones, certain dollars are released at that time. Right. So sometimes there's a large renovation portion, so a large dollar figure is dispersed up front because usually your general contractor needs a little boost, right, initially. And so that's usually the initial draw is up on the upfront. So very similar to a construction type of loan, but it's the renovation version. So it is a great option if you find that beautiful house, the bones are there, but the look and feel is just not what you want. Instead of going to your local department store, or what's it called? The Home Depots or the Lowe's. What's it called? Hardware store? Department store. I went from apparel to hammers.
Hardware stores.
Yeah. Going there. They're going to sell you on their type of, loan to do some of the renovations and or a credit card, and if you think about what your interest rate would be based upon that versus the rate that you can get on your mortgage, a renovation loan is a great option for many people.
Is that also like a home improvement loan, or is it one and the same? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. One and the same if you wanted to do that. Now, let's say you own the home, right? We have a lot of people that have lived in their house, that 15, 16 years, and now they're ready to just have a facelift of that. We could do an equity line and pull some money out and help to have more of a quick version and have that cash to be able to do some renovations. So there are some multiple options for folks, depending on if you are currently living in the home or if you're looking to purchase that particular house. So
Right.
I have learned through your story I'm not going to do any repairs myself.
Plumbing. Just electrical, I'm fine.
I would be the girl with the hammer, and I would break the finger. I would instead of hitting the nail, I would hit the finger and
Or break the hammer.
I'd break the hammer. I drop the mic and break the hammer. There you go. I love it. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad. Any other renovations you've done there, John? I mean, John.
Jim?
Oh, goodness, Jim. Can't take me anywhere.
I've done a lot of renovations, small handyman stuff around the house. I'm fairly handy. So, it's just plumbing. It's, whenever it involves water.
One time I let my son change the flapper in the toilet,
Mm-hmm.
He was probably 16 or something like
flapper?
that. Yeah, there's a flapper in there.
Yeah. They call it the ball cock.
the flapper. Anyhow, so I
That's what it's called.
So it works fine.
I'm so confused.
It works. It's working fine.
Yeah.
And we go on vacation, come back after being gone for a week, and there's water rushing from the toilet through the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it had changed the color of the carpet to white because of the chlorine in the water. I'm all about staying away from the plumbing.
Yeah, it's I learned a lot of expletives when my father did plumbing work. So
Or the electrical, or any type of renovation.
Electrical,
I go to the
yeah.
professionals. Stick with the professionals.
Yeah.
But there are some. My sister, though, she's a pro. My brother-in-law, he leaves it to her. She's on the ladder. He's in the recliner. He's going to love me and hate me all in the same sense.
I appreciate him. That's my philosophy as well.
Yeah,
And when I met Connie, she had more tools than I did. She has a Sawzall from what woman has a Sawzall?
I don't
That's
even know.
awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's great.
That is amazing.
Yeah, do
She's
you know
a keeper.
what Sawzall is?
No, it sounds fabulous of not to have.
Do you own any tools?
I probably own a lot of tools. However, have I ever lifted one of those or have used one? No, but I have a lot of friends who, can use the tools, Yeah, but there's a lot of great tools. It was funny, the other day I saw a sledgehammer, right? I'm not sure when I would ever need that, but just in case, there's a massive, major hammer there.
Just don't bring it to work.
Yeah. Oh, I might bring it to work. I might get a lot of loans approved at that point. We're dropping the hammer there. Yeah. Too funny. But yeah, there's all kinds of different tools. Although I do have my little toolbox. It's very cute. It's yay by, 2x3 or whatever it is. And I have, the, what's it called where it's the square thing and it looks like an L?
Oh, like an Allen key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, every piece of furniture I purchase needs an Allen key.
Oh,
and all of a sudden my desk chair is wiggly, and I got to get that out. Or the small hammer, because I do want to put my pictures up, so I do try that. And my Christmas decorations. We could go into my new product I'm coming up with. It's got the wraparound for all of my tools to hang Christmas decorations. Now, I will use my tools for Christmas decoration hanging, but that's a different topic for a different day.
I think we need to wind this down.
We are.
Got to land this plane, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Jim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, so stay tuned because we are getting back to the topics at hand here. We're going to be talking here in just a minute about if you were a seller, would you want to automatically market incentives on the upfront? Right? Would that attract more buyers if you offer closing costs or different incentives on the upfront?
That's a great question.
Great question. Hey, you've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. And we are back. We're going to be talking about if you are a seller, should you automatically offer incentives, maybe closing costs or different
We
perks?
see this all the time in our industry. My vote typically is, don't do it.
No? Well, we had a great question here.
I know.
From Carla from Bellevue. So she says, I'm putting my condo on the market next month, and some friends said I should offer to pay the buyer's closing cost up front. Is that a good idea?
Yeah,
so you say no.
I would vote no, because here's what I see happen is, to one person, closing costs is important. It's kind of like offering a home warranty. Warranty folks will tell you that you'll get more money if you offer a home warranty. The reality of the situation is, to one person, a home warranty is important. To another person, it's not.
Sure.
But if you've included it, now it became a gift. And folks just tend to forget about gifts. And that's just reality. So here's how it works. So somebody says, yeah, I'll pay your closing costs. Now you can just go ahead and reduce the value of your home by that 2.5% or whatever those costs are.
Okay.
Just go ahead and reduce that because you're going to pay it one way or the other. Okay, so what I believe in doing is you're going to get more bang for the buck if you just go ahead. If you're willing to, if you're thinking about pricing that home to include that $5,000 in closing costs,
okay,
go ahead and reduce the price because you're going to get more bang for the buck. Because the lower the price is, the more eyeballs that you're going to see, and the more eyeballs it translates to more people through the front door.
But what about the people that don't have, the money to pay the closing cost?
Well, I think most good realtors understand that closing costs are certainly negotiable.
Okay,
especially at a full price level, or even in some cases, if it's really a sought after property, you raise the price that amount, assuming that it's going to appraise. Okay.
So instead of closing costs, let's change it up. So I love color. And so every room in my house is a different color. This is just hypothetical because that's not true, even though I love color. But every room is a different color. So would I want to sell this property? It's very overwhelming. So would I automatically give a paint concession or what's it called? A paint
allowance?
Allowance?
Yeah, so that's a little different topic.
Okay.
I think that
up front on the marketing,
right, in the
materials.
Marketing, if you say that, a paint allowance, that tells me as an experienced realtor that, okay, the house is ugly inside. It's
okay.
Probably not, if my client is one that's not going to be able to see past those colors.
Sure.
Paint is one thing that's probably worth doing, something more neutral, light gray or whatever the going color is at that moment, and neutralize it because a lot of times people can't see past that.
The only thing with paint, which is so frustrating to me, it's not just throw some paint up on the wall. There is, then you got trim and then you got it's a whole other process, which could cost a lot more money than what I was willing to give in my allowance.
Right.
Per se,
Right.
I don't know. I just was thinking about that. And what about the carpets or my flooring? I had a dog.
Right.
He had really long nails, again, using scenarios, right?
Right.
Scratched up my hardwoods in a way that is not as appealing. Do I offer a flooring allowance, up front or wait till someone asks for that?
So again, here's a quick example. So this Sunday, we're doing an open house on a house in Brentwood.
Next Sunday, you mean, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, next Sunday. Yeah, this is Sunday, isn't it? Next Sunday, we're doing an open house this coming Sunday is what I was talking about. So we're doing an open house. So the way we're doing it, though, is we're pricing it really conservatively.
Okay.
And because the home needs some things like an updated kitchen and an updated master bath.
Okay.
So we know that going into it. So if you're going to ask top dollar, then you're going to have to get these things done. But let's think about it. If a kitchen and a bathroom, let's say this home should be priced at $510,000.
Okay.
Sell at $510,000. 3,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath in Brentwood. And it's hard to find that kind of home in Brentwood. So we know that ahead of time. And my clients were concerned about, should we put granite in there? There's no granite in the kitchen. There's no granite in the master bathroom is original.
Okay. Instead
of pricing it at $510,000 and doing these things, because that would be expected, you're trading dollars for dollars. And you're living through that construction. You're living through the hassle and the mess and so forth. Why not instead price it at $489,000? Because at $489,000, you can't find anything in Brentwood like this. And now suddenly the people walking in are more enthused by the price than they are, and they're going to overlook those little issues that they're assuming are going to probably be present because the home is priced so well.
So, great question, because I'm dealing with this on a different topic. So, there are some houses that are 16 years old, right? And some of the homes in that neighborhood were already remodeled, $200,000+ to remodel some of these houses that are 16 years old, right?
Wow.
So now you're looking at a purchase price of $7-something, right? $780, but it needs $200,000+, of remodel because it's 16 years old. So other folks in the neighborhood, one house went already remodeled over $1 million, and then another is on the market for $965-ish, right? So right now, looking at trying to sell that particular house, that I'm talking about, my question is, the house right next door to the house that I'm speaking of is on the market for $965. This particular house wants to go on the market, but is prettier, has more upgrades, etc. Do you go and say, should I compete with my neighbor whose house is not as pretty? Right? They did renovations, but not very nice renovations. But again, who likes what, right? Meaning, I guess you might like one thing versus the other. And then the thought of putting anything on the market for $965 when I know it's worth $1 million or $990 or something like that. What would you say in that situation? Meaning, would you drop your price just because the neighbor who has a home that you feel is a little uglier than yours and drop the price just to compete? Or would you say when they go into that house and then they go into your house, they're going to say, you know what, I really like this house, so I'm willing to pay the $20,000. Do people really shift that way or no?
I think they do, but when you get into certain price points, though, certain things are expected. And when you get that close to $1 million, first of all, there's not nearly as many buyers, okay? So part of this has to be, you have to understand that this whole market is demographic driven.
Sure, okay.
So there's 10 times more. The price point I'm talking about, staying under $500,000, is eons different than somebody hovering around $1 million. So
and then you go to the next level where you're 200, 300,000, right? So you're looking at different things there.
And that's the problem people don't realize is when you're dealing with let's say a 20-year-old home and it needs a renovated kitchen, let's say,
sure,
or a master bath. The problem of starting that project is you cannot effectively isolate up and update one room. And that's how it ends
it's just
up being.
Going to lead and go round,
it's like
round,
something sticky. You get on your hand, you can't get it off because
right. It's a constant.
Now the doorknobs have to be changed, and the hinges have to be changed, and the light fixtures have to be changed, and it goes on and on and on
sure.
and on.
So that makes sense to drop the price, in comparison to the renovation piece.
Well, especially in that case, because again, those kind of homes, you can drop $200,000 really quick.
Right.
And you're dealing with somebody who's got maybe a little more sophisticated or opinionated taste. Maybe not sophisticated, but certainly opinionated because they've earned the right. And now they don't like the granite you just put in.
So let's talk about that $250,000, price point of a home, because maybe that client does need closing costs, right? So if I already know they're going to ask me for closing costs, would I automatically already put that in my price when I'm dealing with that $250,000 price point in comparison to the $400,000 or $500,000?
Yeah. So if you're talking about a $250,000 on this condo that Carla sent in, if you're talking about a $250,000 price point, then what I would do is I would price it with that in mind. Okay, but I wouldn't talk about it.
So you already would know I'm going to offer this with the understanding I'm probably going to be asked and or I'm comfortable giving.
Correct.
Okay.
But I wouldn't throw it out there because now, again, there's a 50-50 chance, or maybe in that price point, maybe
that you may not even have to do it.
You might not have to.
Okay, that's good.
Because again, at that price point, again around Nashville, there's going to be a mad dash for it anyhow. So
inventory is low still.
Well, in this price point,
that price point, yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for your question. That was a good one. I see here we've got one from Eric out in Smyrna.
Oh yeah.
What is he talking about?
So Eric says, we recently put our home on the market, and within a few days, we had 4 offers on it.
Yes.
We chose what we felt was the best offer, and now 3 weeks later, the appraisal has come back $15,000 less than the sales price. That's what I try to share with people all the time is it's not about selling it, it's about the property appraising.
Right.
So what can we do about this, Eric asks. We've committed to buying another home and can't lower our sales price that much and still be able to buy the other one. Can't the buyer pay the difference? Please help. This is Eric in Smyrna.
And again, this is coming, from the seller side, right?
Right. But he, sometimes, again, we don't know who the other agent is, if they're experienced or not. So, if the agent, when you consider over half of the agents right now in Middle Tennessee have been in the business for 2 years or less, over half, okay? There's a good chance that Eric's Eric's agent's counterpart is not that experienced. So we might want to explore the things that a lender can do, for instance.
Sure, yeah. There's a lot.
Rate.
So when we look at it from a lender's standpoint, it's a huge, big puzzle. So you've got one house and you've got the next purchase, right?
Right.
So, sometimes we shift loan to values in comparison. So what they thought they were going to put down on their new purchase, we might have to lower and change the type of loan that they were doing. So they could not have to stress and just take the $15,000 deduction. But it may be another situation that the buyer feels the house is worth more, the seller feels the house is worth more, and all the agents feel that it was priced at the right price, right? So we could do something called a rebuttal where both agents come together with all their best comparables, and they agree upon those are the best comparables. And we go back to the appraiser's office and say, hey, did you notice this one, and this one? Could you re-look at the appraisal and the appraised amount, and could you reconsider your opinion? And so that's a good place to start if everybody does agree on the value, from that standpoint. And or, we've done different things where, I guess the first question too was the contract written contingent on appraisal, right?
Probably so.
Most likely. Okay. So, then you're in that little bit of a pickle. If they're not going to receive the extra $15,000, can we shift it on the other side where they don't have to bring that extra $15,000?
Yeah.
And or if they're considered their cash that they're covering for the other home includes closing costs, could the lender raise the rate to cover closing costs, or could they assist with some of the closing costs to lessen their cash to close to allow them the freedom of receiving less on that sale? What do you think?
I agree. I think it goes back to the marketing of the property to make sure there's options. Is my first answer is.
Oh.
We need a few more minutes to talk about.
I know. Well, let's come back and continue the discussion.
I think it's a really important topic.
So we're going to keep talking about this on the other side of the break. Hey, you've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here, Realty One Group, Music City.
Hey, and Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
This is a great topic, Carey Ann, talking about what do you do when the appraisal comes in low and you've already made a commitment to sell your home and buy another.
Yes. I
see this happen so often. There's a lot of folks that know, especially real estate professionals, that it's not about selling the home. It's about getting it to the finish line. It's not. There's plenty of people that raise their hand and say, "Yeah, I'll buy that for that." But getting the appraiser to agree to that number sometimes is a whole another process. So what we have talked about, actually, we talked about it the other day at your place. Last time we had a training there, talking about positioning the listing so this kind of situation doesn't happen. Now, in this case, it's already happened, and so the question is, what we've already covered, and that is basically, first of all, try to, rebut it. Second of all, try to split the difference of that $15,000. And then if that won't happen, then you eat that $15,000, I guess, if you can, and then come up with another mortgage plan like you shared.
Sure, right. Absolutely.
So if we could back up prior to that, let's say, for instance, none of that works and they end up back on the market, I would take it off the market. I would start over again and position it price-wise in a way that it would encourage multiple offers on that property, okay? Then what people don't realize, the old way of thinking is price it high so that you can come down. The new and better way, I think, because, see, it's consumer driven, and the consumers are looking at stuff based on what they feel like they can afford, and they know there's not a whole lot of negotiating going on out there, so it's better to price it where it should be, or maybe a little bit lower, like I started sharing a little earlier about the home that's worth $510, but we priced it at $489 because it needed an update in the kitchen and the
sure, right.
And so I anticipate probably having 10 offers on this house. So one of the reasons why we want these multiple offers is not necessarily to get a higher number than what the home is worth. That is not the goal. The goal, though, is to find us a scenario where we have somebody strong enough financially and committed enough to buy this house that if the appraisal does come in short, they're willing and able to make up the difference.
I see.
Okay? So, in other words, I sold a home not long ago that I had multiple offers on the table, and I went back to the first choice and said, will you waive that contingency? Because I knew the house wasn't going to appraise for what we had sold it for.
Sure.
And so it's funny that if somebody has the ability and they know they're competing with somebody else, they'll waive that.
Right.
Okay? So that's what happened in this case. That's what I would recommend for every seller out there, is to think about positioning yourself with a real estate professional who knows how to get multiple offers on the table.
Love it.
Crazy thought, isn't it?
Hey, I would want to sell with you. You're giving multiple offers. I love that. That's good stuff.
It's empowering. It puts you in a situation. What I try to share with our sellers is, look, we're trying to help you be in a position. It's all posturing anyhow. We're trying to help you be in a scenario where the buyer wants you more than you want the buyer. When a home sits there, here's human nature. You have first of all, you have a window. Maybe that window is 2 weeks, maybe it's 3 weeks, but it's a very short window to maximize the value of your home.
Sure.
Okay. Once a home is on the market, 30 days, 60 days, and it's all, we do the same thing. If a home's been on that, for instance, the couple that I was just talking about at the house in Brentwood, when we were talking about this strategy, they're moving to Kansas. Okay. Well, the home that they like has been on the market for 287 days. I said, do you have any fear of losing that home? Because that's the key element that I'm trying to help create when I list a home with an aggressive price point, okay, is that fear of loss. Fear of loss is the greatest motivator in the world. So I asked them, are you afraid of losing this one? And, well, no, it's been on the market 287 days. They're asking $259. We're going to offer $220 and see what they say.
Sure.
And that's exactly what happens. When you take away the fear of loss as a primary element when people to take action or not, it gives us all a license to act stupid. Just the way it works.
Now that we're talking about this, I was thinking about a situation that recently happened where the house did not appraise and everybody had to have everything still work because of transactions moving on, right?
Sure.
It's very, very similar to this situation. Sure. Well, the buyer on the sale that did not appraise was actually putting a very large sum of money down, $80,000, I think.
Wow.
And so in that situation, when they are putting such a large sum of money down, really all that you're doing at that point is shifting the loan to value.
Right.
You're not really having the buyer bring any more money.
Right.
You're just shifting loan to value. So in this case, they already passed the threshold of 20% down. And so there wasn't any fear of mortgage insurance. So in this case, everybody still was comfortable with the price, even though the house didn't appraise.
Right.
All we did was shift the loan to value. He still brought the buyer still brought the same amount of money. The seller still got the same amount of money, even though the house did not appraise. And the cash to close didn't change for that particular buyer. Payment didn't change. Everybody was happy, and you move on. But a senior loan officer would know that that's how you do that.
Right.
Other people get, deer in the headlight situation and everything stops. Sometimes the lenders don't know that it is a simple change of a computer system and a loan to value percentage change.
We just had this happen in our office where one of our teams in our office, the appraisal came back $50,000 short.
Yeah.
And it was even under what the man had paid for it 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure.
And that lender that they were using, because of a relationship, didn't know what to do. I mean, couldn't get to the closing table. When the lady sat down with me and said, "What do we do?" I said, "Well, first of all, we've got to get this transaction into Carey Ann's hands because she will know what to do." That's what they did, and we had a closing a week later, or 8 days later, whatever it was. What's
our magic number? The 8 days.
Number,
Yes. But again, it goes back to sometimes appraisals are just opinions of one, and we learned that having Scott here, in a previous episode.
See, what the man said, he wouldn't come down on price. We asked him the question, well, will you be willing to hold a second mortgage in the difference then?
Oh, okay.
Because our buyer would qualify for it.
Sure.
Well, and he started doing the math. He said, "No, I'll tell you what I'll do, though. I'll come down, $30,000 or something like that." He ate most of it because he didn't want to hold that mortgage. But we had, an option that if he was really serious about selling, he could have considered.
Yeah,
but
seller financing, right? We haven't discussed that on the show. We maybe can look into that on a different episode.
You don't see much of that, but
anymore.
In this case, he had enough equity that could have been a possibility since the appraisal came in so short.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what a great topic that was. And thank you so much, Eric from Smyrna, for asking that amazing question.
Yeah, sorry about the pain of that experience. So hopefully they got it worked out if it's a past tense now. But anyhow.
So we have another question, I think. We have time, for one more. What question do you show in here?
I've got a question from Sherry in Hermitage.
Sherry.
Carey Ann and Monte. You want to ask this question?
We are expecting our third child this spring, and my husband is considering closing in our garage in order to add the much-needed living space. Before doing so, we thought we should ask the experts. Would you advise us doing this?
That's a great question, and
great
one
question.
I see happen all the time. My first advice would be to sit down, try to sit down with Sherry and say, "Look, is this the best option in closing that garage?" Because, when you get to certain price points, certain things are expected. And certainly, if they have a garage, that price point is probably, expecting that garage. What I always try to remind folks is certain price points,
think ahead, right?
Certain things are expected. And if
right.
you don't have that, suddenly your home is invisible when people are searching for it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd first of all explore, is it make more sense to let's see what we can get for your home and then buy that four-bedroom home? That's what I would first explore with. But as far as if they decided, well, we really love this, it's next door to Grandma and Grandpa, we really want to stay here, should we close in that garage? My suggestion would be simply to, if you do close in that garage, instead of closing it completely, because we see this all the time,
mm-hmm.
I would bring that outside wall that's in front of the garage door in about from 6 feet from the wall. So you still have the garage door. You still have some storage space there, okay? And you're not losing all your storage space.
I see.
So when I finished off that garage, I would only use indoor-outdoor carpet, maybe, not put a bathroom out there, not spend a lot of money on there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do decide to sell, go ahead and insulate it. Go ahead and put an air conditioning unit there or a furnace. Provide the heat space. So it's actually finished space.
Right.
But don't lock it down so that when you sell it, you can't advertise a garage.
Right. And that's so hard, the resale, to think about that.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
So
many great questions were answered tonight. It's just been a really good show.
And it's a lot. This is so
important.
Connected to the fact that we're getting some awesome questions.
We are. And again, thank you so much. Questions at talkmusiccity.com is where you can send all of your questions. If you want to see what we look like and subscribe to our podcast, be sure to go on Facebook. The Talk of Music City Real Estate podcast is there. You can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music, Podcast, etc. So we thank you so much for tuning in every Sunday night at 5 p.m. You've been listening to the Talk of Music City Real Estate.